Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. This is A Marvelous. Thank you for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. It's going to be a brief video. This is kind of like a new moon confirmation. I wasn't going to do this video, but after Charles Manson's death, I figured it'd be a good video to do based on the symbology of letting go. If anything, this new moon represents obviously new beginnings, going through the darkest parts of yourself in terms of coming out with something beautiful. So going through the pain of all the stuff that you're going through in terms of bringing out forth something that is beautiful and uplifting to yourself is what this moon represented. But I think on a larger scale for everyone, in terms of plugging into one theme that applies to everyone, I think Charles Manson's death, or the release of this death during this time, is a universal sign of letting go. I think as we approach the new year, as we move into a new sign of Sagittarius, I think that this death happening at this time is a clear indication that you have to let things go. Especially things that are of the darkest nature, things that have been giving you the most turmoil. Maybe it's time to accept whatever happened. If it's detrimental, if it's traumatic, I think this death nationwide, because when you hear about deaths on a national level, whether they be natural deaths, assassinations, health causes, if it's on a national level, they take on a meaning to the collective unconscious. Because as human beings, we share, no matter how independent we are, we share a connection. And that connection as human beings creates a field of consciousness that we all share into. And based on the overall predominant thought process and emotional field that we share, that overall field that we have in common is what's going to be projected as our reality. Even if it's a staged event, whatever we accept as a collective, as a narrative, or as true, is going to be projected into the world. So if as a collective we all believe a certain type of thing, it's going to play out in the news, it's going to play out on television, in the movies, period. Until we as a collective change the beliefs that we have in common, whatever we see now is going to reflect what we have in common on a regular basis. So as we progress to a new consciousness collectively, we're going to start to see new stories and new narratives. So Charles Manson dying, a part of us as a collective also died, because Charles Manson symbolized a particular thing, right? The face of evil, just like Hitler, just like many other figures. And when these archetypes die, a part of us dies as a collective, because we are connected to these national figures, where we want them to be or not. Because we help contribute to them being national figures by the attention we give them, by the stock we give in the media, the fact that they're called stars and they shine and they're famous. They cannot have fame unless we give them our energy and attention to put them in this position as to where they outshine the rest of us like stars, and we label them as famous. So anytime you see a national figure go through something in the public and it's broadcast, and or you go through a death that's broadcast, the bigger the promotion of that event, of that star and that death, represents how much of our energy, our attention that we've given this archetype figure throughout time. So Charles Manson is something that has been a generational torch passing of evil. So him dying is symbolic of things, not just recent things, but being that he's a generational archetype of evil and something that's been carried on through generations in this media, through different eras. This also represents the things that might go back to our childhood decades ago, a long time ago, that we need to let go of. So as we close out this new moon, and with the Charles Manson dying, I think that the message, the universal message for everyone is to let go of those things, not just of the last few weeks, days, or months, but maybe let go of at least one thing that may have happened in your childhood or from decades ago that's still haunting you, and actually make a conscious decision to spend the day, right, the final hours of this moon, and actually speak out and letting it leave you. Whatever it is, whatever trauma it was, maybe this is time right now, because this is the most powerful new moon of the year, to actually relinquish it verbally, right? Relinquish it on paper, write it out, burn it, which is what I'm going to do as this day ends. And whatever it is that you are difficult to accept, even if you think about it after today, just speak it out and say, you know, I let it go. I relinquish you. You've been a part of me forever, and now it's time for you to exit. And I think that Charles Manson dying is symbolic of all of our evils and all of our demons that we have that still haunt us. Maybe we should symbolically, ceremoniously, ritualistically create our own ceremony. Write it out what it is that has caused us pain, who has caused us pain, but not recently, from a long time ago. This is the time to release the reoccurring, long-standing negatives that we've carried on to. So even if we still think about it after today, if we speak it out, write it out, burn it, go, if you have a warm climate, to the beach or wherever, ship it off in the ocean, some kind of ceremony to where these things that we have that have been haunting us for decades, we relinquish and get rid of. And we'll call that the relinquishing of evil, the Charles Manson ceremony. But that's what I wanted to make this video for. I think that this was a clear sign to me that the world collectively should take this time and dig into what it is that has been plaguing them for decades, for a long time, and today make it an actual practice to relinquish it. And I think that in doing that today, you might feel a level of therapy that you have not experienced in a long time, if ever. So that's why I wanted to make this brief video, to use this new moon, the end of it, and the death of Charles Manson, to actually relinquish those things that have been reoccurring through your own ceremony, and just banish it and get rid of it, so then you can go to a higher level. So with that, I hope this video was useful. See you soon. Peace.